what business was like before Agency U.
It was very, very scarce. We had an idea of what we wanted to do, but we didn't know how to get there.
Tell us a little bit about the current state of the business now.
We are growing. For the last 3 months, we've been doing 15K months consistently. Our technically first month, that was like a 20K month. Tripled the business in no time.
What are the steps that we worked on in your brain that helped get you from shiny object syndrome to feeling like you're pretty confident in my abilities, all that sort of stuff?
We needed help with a little bit of everything, and that direction was just what helped us.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video case study. Got my boy Danny on here. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? How are you?
You surviving the heat in California, a little inland, right? It's
always. Yeah.
120 degrees, right?
It has its days, yeah. We're surviving though.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for doing this. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to knock this out with me. Why don't you just give everybody watching, listening, whatever they could be doing, just a quick intro of you, your agency, where you're located, what you guys do, all that sort of stuff.
My name's Danny Thomas. I'm the founder, or one of the founders of a company called Rev Construct. So Rev Construct is based in Southern California, and we help predominantly contractors and home service businesses all over the United States, starting to branch out into Canada, Europe, New Zealand, and Australia. Mainly helping with them with their web design, web hosting efforts, and also we are an SEO and PPC agency as well.
We first spoke, what was it, like 5-6 months ago?
Yeah, a little closer to 6, yeah, I believe.
Yeah. Why don't you just give like a quick rundown of like what business was like, what you guys, like you and your partner were doing before Agency U, like where were you guys at? Like why were you looking for help? Like what was it specifically that you were looking for? And then what was the current situation of the business?
So I guess to start off, as far as like revenue wise, it was very, very scarce. So I think at the time before we spoke with Austin and his team at Agency U, we were probably around like 4K a month, maybe a little bit more than that. I think our biggest problem though is like we had an idea of what we wanted to do, but we didn't know how to get there. We lacked the knowledge, the know-how, the systems, the processes, and ultimately the accountability coaching was one of the big aspects in helping us get to where we are today. So yeah, like I said, almost 6 months ago, it was very scarce.
Yeah. I remember it was a big leap when we were talking, and I think I took the sales call, right?
Yeah,
like I was on the call with you, which is rare, but. It was really fun talking to you, and definitely felt confident and all that sort of stuff. So you mentioned accountability, you mentioned unclear on direction. So what were you doing at the time to figure out like where I should go? Is it like I'm scouring YouTube, I'm like keep running into a dead end, or what was it that was even prompting the idea of getting help?
I mean, I think at some point in every entrepreneurial career, you end up going through the YouTube university, watching all of the free content that you can. But I think one of the biggest things for us was we had like shiny object syndrome. We would just see an idea and say, oh, okay, great. Let's try and go after that. Not knowing any of the repercussions or the steps to take to actually make that one system or process possible, right? To be successful. So that was like that was literally our life for I want to say like 3 or 4 months leading up to our phone call. And it was actually my partner that I believe he found you guys through Instagram, probably your funnel, and then navigated to YouTube to watch some additional content that you were putting out at the time. And he kind of just came to me and said, hey, like, we don't have a lot of direction right now. I feel like business coach, consulting agency coach would be something that we would absolutely need. And I was a little skeptical at the time, but I knew deep down that we needed it. We actually just needed, it was more of like an accountability coach and somebody that was, in that level of success that we were trying to get to ultimately. So they can, it was a pretty seamless process. You came in, you say, okay, where are you at now? Where are you trying to go? Okay, this is where you're trying to grow. Perfect. This is what you need to do. Actionable tips and steps. And having the community, of course, was a huge help. I even still talk to some of the guys in the group today. But that was the biggest thing, is just actionable steps and advice on some of the systems that even you use in your agency that we were able to adopt into ours to help streamline it. That was probably the biggest help for sure. Yeah. At least in the immediate 2 months, the first 2 months that we were in the program. Because I'm sure you noticed from the start, I was like, hey, I'm trying to get this stuff going as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Just tell me what I need to do and I will do it. I'm not trying to kick the can down the road. Like, that's not the kind of guy I am, you know? So, and you know, like I said, leading up to that first consultation call, it was just 3 or 4 months of just this constant loop of like trying to find something that would work, trying to stick with it, found something really shiny again, and then we would just repeat that process. You know, it was like a hamster wheel that was going nowhere.
We do call that the hamster wheel, and we also call it a yo-yo effect, where it'll work and then like it doesn't work, and then it's like all over the place.
Yeah, for sure.
And then let's talk about like current state of the business, and then what we'll do is we'll talk about what specifically actually helped get you there and talk more about the program. So tell us a little bit about the current state of the business now.
So as far as the current state, we are growing, not too fast, which is kind of a good thing, because we were able to identify some bottlenecks that we're addressing right now. But for the last 3 months, we've been doing 15K months consistently. In May, or our technically first month, we that was like a 20K month, and then 15. So it's been doing really good. But again, we
better than 4K.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, tripled the business in no time, and it's consistent. Like, that's the biggest thing, is it's consistent, and it's putting us in a position now where we can identify the small little leaks in the bucket, or the small gaps in the systems that we're trying to critique, right, to make it better and more streamlined. So like right now, my biggest thing is not necessarily a lead problem anymore. So we get leads, we have conversations and leads every single day through you know, the steps and processes that we went through with agency. So now that's kind of just like a faucet that we can just kind of turn on whenever we need to. So now that issue is solved, now I'm like, okay, for me to predictably get to 20, 30, 50K a month, what's that going to look like internally? And how am I going to be able to maintain those stellar client results that we're trying to make? Basically, we're just trying to streamline that process. You know.
Yeah, your body language and your aura is a lot more relaxed, and it seems like you have a lot more control over the business, and it seems like you feel a lot more like confident in the growth and the ability, just because you have control over it. And it's not like you're trying 10 different things. It's like, this is the thing. I know that I need to just pound the stone on this one thing over and over and over again, and it's going to lead to this, because it's a system, right? A business is a system at the end of the day. And it sounds like that's pretty much dialed in from your perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, it's just like, it came down to like, okay, what is the immediate problem and what are we trying to get to? And then once we solved that problem, we took, you know, those leaps and bounds to get to where we're at now. And it's like, okay, realistically, how are we going to be able to scale, right? Like I mentioned before, while maintaining our client results.
Totally.
And our onboarding and hiring. You know, I was so deathly scared of hiring people, because I was that guy that's like, I need to do everything. If I'm not doing it, then it's just not gonna get done the right way. Yeah. So I remember some of the conversations that we used to have about making like start-stop lists and reaching out to the network of you know, network as in community within Agency U, because that's just a giant resource. You know, so we're already talking with some talent agencies and stuff like that, trying to line up a couple hires for the business too, when we get to the point where we can you know, bring on a couple more clients and stuff like that. So, but I mean, it's been a roller coaster, but it's so much fun now that I don't have to so much rely on like, okay, how am I going to get leads? How am I going to get
guessing?
Yeah.
It's the list of the guessing game. Okay, so why don't you just give like a little deep dive or a breakdown of what got you from, you know, shiny object syndrome, kind of taking projects as they come in, not having a lot of clarity, to like now you're a lot more relaxed, consistently doing $15,000 a month. Like, you know that you could do $20,000 a month if you wanted to, because you just need to turn up the faucet, but you know that there's implications to doing that, which is you need to improve the product, or not implications, but like things that you need to do in order to fix that, which would be fixing the product, making sure your systems can handle it. What are the steps that we worked on in your brain that helped get you from, like the shiny object syndrome to feeling like you're like, I mean, I'm talking to you and you're like, I'm a business owner. Like, I have control. Like, I feel pretty confident in my abilities, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So I guess to start, I mean, it's so funny because like going back to the beginning of Agency U, like we needed like a little bit of everything. Now that I think about it, because gosh, man, we like I said, we needed help with a little bit of everything, and that direction was just what helped us. So for one, we have a CRM, so you guys helped us getting our automations and our CRM dialed in. 2 was the project management system. That was ultimately like really a huge piece here in this whole puzzle, because just extracting client information was just kind of coming from all over the place. So that was a really big piece. Streamlining the onboarding process and getting the service contracts on lock. That was something really, really big for me personally, because I just wasn't used to selling companies into contracts like that before. So having that guidance, and especially with all the Zapier automations and all that, it's so nice. Because it's like I just send off this form and then everything else just kind of takes care of it. So that was a big thing for me. But ultimately, it was just gaining the confidence through building out those systems and understanding them that ultimately made it that much easier to sell. Because my biggest thing was like, I cannot be a confident salesman in my services if I don't know what the heck's going on or how to operate. And at the same time, I needed to understand the ins and outs of each one of those aspects. So when I am ready to train somebody, and even because like I said, we have a small team now, but training the small team that we have now and building SOPs to be put in place to when we bring someone on, it's going to be a seamless hiring process as well. But that was the biggest piece of it right there, because I came from an advertising background. So I kind of was already like, I understood how to run ads. Like that was not the problem. It's just the structure going through the program of like, hey, instead of doing it like this, you should try and structure them like this. And then it was just like, oh, light bulb. Okay. And then that's what I started doing that. But I think there's no freaking way I would be where I'm at today unless it was the conversation I had with you probably around month like 2 when you said you need to start making content and you need to start building your personal brand. Those 2 things right there is the reason why I was able to get from 4K to 15K pretty quickly. And now I'm like, okay, well, I can get more clients. I just have to, like I said, turn on that faucet. Now it's more of like, okay, let's streamline it so we can maintain as we scale, But that was the biggest thing. So I followed it to the T. I started making content really consistently. I started using the authority funnel inside of Agency to run my ads. And that was turning into tons and tons of conversations, But the beautiful thing is, and I always say this too, but it was kind of like imposter syndrome. It's like, I always tell business owners, people do business with people, right? So when I'm running advertising and they see my ads and then they come to my page, it's like I'm solidifying the fact that I am, a professional or an agency owner in the space selling a specific type of service. And I don't think I would have ever had that kind of credibility if I was just like a faceless brand from the start, And again, like I'm not Nike, I'm not Adidas, So building that personal brand and that presence was probably like that one missing puzzle piece around all of the other things inside of Agency U. So
it was the offer and product side of things and making sure that the product was actually good so that you could be convicted when you sold it. Because it's like, yeah, we could get you 1 million leads, but if your product sucks and you're not convinced in it, like what kind of business is that? And then the building the personal brand and creating content and launching the authority funnel was the other pillar that you feel escalated you to tripling in the monthly recurring revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I just had a sales call yesterday with an optometrist, and they said like we wouldn't have booked a call unless I saw they watched like 10 or 15 of my Instagram videos.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then they're gonna move forward on Wednesday actually. So
nice.
There's another one in the bag there. So
yeah. Drop weekly wins. It seems like new deal, new client.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, like I said, it all just came down to if I'm having more conversations, I'm selling more, right? And then as my systems and processes are getting a little bit more dialed in, I'm able to sell a little bit easier and also say no to things. Like it was kind of cool. It happened, about a month and a half ago, but I was like saying no to people where I'm just like, sorry, man, like I'm not going to take this. Because I know that I'm not a yes man anymore. Just like you said, I'm not trying to take on things that I have no idea what's going on, or I might have some general knowledge, but I'm not an expert in it.
Just
and even then too, it's nice having that community because, like I said, I still talk to some of the agency owners, and I'll just refer them over here. Hey, I got a great guy that is really in the space. Go talk to him. So. But having that clarity in all the systems and processes and everything in between definitely helps a ton.
A lot of kudos to you, man, because like everybody that I have these conversations with, the common denominator is just massive action. and then massive action in the right direction. Like you mentioned accountability. It's like, yeah, there's that point of it, but there's also like the thing that happens between the accountability, which is the agency's taking massive action. And you, like, I was always impressed when we would jump on a call and it'd be like, oh, this is what I built out. This is what you said to do. Boom, boom, boom. And it was like done. I was like, oh, no wonder you're going to like start crushing it here in the next couple of days, because everything's built out and you're just following the sequence of events and like you're just doing what we suggest to do and you're seeing the results, which is no surprise.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, from the beginning, I'm like, I'm not doing this damn hamster wheel anymore. Just tell me. I was like this. I was like, just bring me down to here and tell me what I need to do, how I need to get there. And then at that point, it was just like, okay, now it's like, now I know what I'm doing. I just have to implement and then make small tweaks to make it better and better and better, and then just keep it going. But I know, like I mentioned before, you know, we did end up doing a full-blown rebrand in the middle of going through agency, which was, it did kill some time, obviously, because it took us about, 4 to 5 weeks to completely do an entire revamp from, website to branding to, logos and social profiles and all that kind of stuff. So, kind of a bummer because it did waste some time, but again, it was necessary evil, because it definitely helped us stop, with all the uncertainty.
Sure. Yeah. One more thing that I want to hit on, just like from the steps, I guess, or like the middle, was talk to me a little bit about like the sales stuff, because a lot of people that watch this or like listen, like they want like leads and sales. Like what's been your experience from that?
From leads and sales. So, well, for one, the training sessions were really spot on. I remember the very first call we had with Gilberto. He just totally just like ninja'd my brain. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this and this and this. He's like, well, what if you did this and this? And I'm like, damn it, we got to go back to the drawing board. But it was good too. It was really good having somebody that had so much sales experience, and the fact that there was weekly coaching calls, and then obviously the one-on-ones that made the biggest difference. But ultimately, the problem that we had, that Agency U to help us solve, was the getting conversations problem. So that way we can actually practice on the sales and the systems and closing ultimately, right? That was one of the biggest things that we had issues with, because I was like trying to sell, right? And I thought I was doing okay. But after the repetitions is when it got easier and easier and easier. So the sales framework inside of Agency U and all the modulars and stuff like that, I read through it, but the biggest thing was I kept reading through it. Like I didn't just read it, I studied it. So that way, when I was on those sales calls, you would get small, subtle cues and hints on those objections, and you kind of say, oh crap, okay, I remember from my notes or from the sales calls how to deal with those objections, and like, I mean, half the time, every time we'd get on a sales training call, there would be like an 80 slide deck of like how to overcome objections and stuff like that. So it's like, those are just all golden nuggets throughout the program, which was great to have. And like I said, the modulars were really good too. So yeah, I think the ultimate thing was like, okay, let's figure out how to solve that one problem, which was, okay, we need conversations so that way we can actually work on our sales skills. And then at that point, it was like, okay, now we need to start getting a little bit more granular with our conversations, because in the very beginning it was like that yes man mentality. We can do this and we can do that, and I don't know how much money you're making per month as a business, but I'm going to take it anyway because I'm hungry, right? But now going through the steps and the trainings and the modules, it's much easier to qualify somebody and simply say, I'm sorry, but your business is just not in a position to where we can come in and help you based on, like businesses making like 10, 15 grand a month as a business. There's just no room for a marketing budget or our specialty or our expertise. So I wouldn't entertain it. I wouldn't try and like race to the bottom, try and sell my services for a discounted amount, because that, and get slightly off track here for a second, but that was another big reason why going through the process and the systems really helped us with the project management system, because we were pricing things as an individual, like as me, not as an agency, with the expectations of, okay, what is it going to look like when we have a team and we're paying people to do these positions, So yeah, like that was really a great lesson that we went through, because again, we were pricing our stuff very, very low, and we were doing that race to the bottom mentality with that a lot of agency owners do. And they think that, okay, if I am a videography agency or whatever the case is, they're going to be that guy. They're going to do everything. And just like you said in some of the content, it's not about as many edits as you can provide to the client. It's about the outcome and the benefits that your services can provide to them. So
Totally.
that's why that whole consulting approach to being an agency owner just helps you get more from the bottom line.
Totally. 100%. Okay, man. Last question. I'm an agency. I'm watching this. What would you say to me about Agency U if I'm like on the fence about it, or I'm considering joining, or any of that stuff? What would you say to somebody that's watching this right now?
So if you're an agency owner that is ultimately just starting out, or even if you are making $3, $5, $70, $100,000 a month, I almost guarantee that there is a system, there is a process, there is an operating system inside of Agency U that will ultimately help you get to the next level wherever you're at in your agency, whether you're a freelance or a small operation like I was, or if you were a full-blown 10, 20, 30 person agency. I think the biggest thing that people don't understand yet, because obviously they're an outsider looking in, but the community itself is worth the program, not even anything else, because you're literally connected with, I think there was like 250 agency owners inside of there that are where you're at now and where you want to be, and just being able to be a fly on the wall, or to simply reach out in a DM and just introduce yourself and network, because I did do that as well. It's worth its weight in gold, because again, like I knew from an early on, or like doing the hamster wheel, that I needed to find somebody that was here when we were here, because we needed to get to here, and I had no idea how to do that on my own. Some people are gifted, some people need that guidance and that business coaching. So, and the thing is too, like I always called myself the ugly duckling, because we're like SEO, web dev. You guys are predominantly like for agency, creative agencies, right? So if you're a creative agency, it's a no-brainer whatsoever. But even if you are an ugly duckling like me, there was so much value in the modules, the training, the one-on-ones, all of everything, that it'll help you get to the next step regardless, because there's, like I said, there's so many golden nuggets and hidden gems, and the fact that it's ever evolving too. Like when I was there, there was no collaboration with some of the other agency owners. Now you guys have a full-blown editing service that you offer to the agency owners, a talent acquisition system that you're offering to agency owners. There was like something else in the works too. The new OS is absolutely insane. And that was just in 4 months of us being in it. So it's like the whole ever evolving thing. It doesn't stop, because obviously all the coaches inside of agency want more, right? They want to provide an absolutely stellar product for their customers and stuff like, or their students and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. Even like as far as the investment goes, like it's a no-brainer. You know?
Yeah. Appreciate that, man. Proud of you, dude. Thanks for hopping on and sharing your experience. Appreciate that. And pumped for what's to come for you, dude. It's gonna be big things. Yeah, you got to unlock, bro. Your foundation is set.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you call it. You're like, yep, you're going to be a 7-figure agency. Oh,
100%. 100%. I already see it there. So.
Yeah. We're gonna get there. I'm hoping to get there probably within the next 12 months, at least to 100K a month.
100%. You got this.